All right, let's dive right in. Today we're tackling something huge, the idea that mastering your thoughts can literally change your entire life. We're going to break down how you can go from that feeling of mental chaos to real clarity. And we're starting with a quote that's been around for a very, very long time. So check this out. We're talking almost 2,000 years ago. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius basically laid it all out for us. This isn't some new age concept, right? It's ancient wisdom that we tend to forget. The simple truth is, your reality is a direct product of what's going on inside your head.
I mean, come on, you know this feeling, right? That little voice in your head that just won't stop. It's on 24/7, worrying, replaying that awkward thing you said yesterday. It's like your brain is just stuck on fast forward with no finish line in sight. So the big question is, what are we supposed to do about that?
Okay, so before we can find a fix, we've got to really get a handle on the problem itself. Let's dig into why our minds feel so, well, chaotic. Isn't this just wild? We walk around with the most powerful computer in the known universe, right between our ears. Seriously, it's this incredible tool, and yet nobody ever gives us the instruction manual. We're just expected to figure it out on our own.
And what happens when we don't know how to use it? Well, the author we're looking at today calls it a mush of thoughts. And that's such a perfect description, isn't it? It's just this jumble, a mix of good thoughts, bad thoughts, weird thoughts, all swirled together. It's not actual productive thinking, it's just noise. And hey, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm a pretty logical person, I've got some news for you. Scientists have found over 100, that's 100, cognitive biases. Think of them as like mental shortcuts our brain takes that almost always lead to mistakes. So yeah, our default setting, it is not rational, not even close. So if we're all hardwired for this chaos, what do we do? Are we just stuck with it? Well, no. The way out is through a really powerful choice. And the best way to understand it is through the story of this one guy who was really going through it. Meet William James. Now, you might know him as a super famous psychologist, but back in 1869, he was in a really, really dark place. We're talking on the verge of suicide. He was totally convinced that his depression was just his biological destiny, something he could never escape. But then, just a year later, he reads this essay about free will and, boom, something clicks. It was a moment that literally changed everything for him. And this is the thought that did it. My first act of free will shall be to believe in free will. It sounds so simple, right? But think about what he's saying. He realized, okay, maybe I can't stop all these automatic negative thoughts from popping into my head, but I can choose whether or not to believe them. I can choose where I put my focus. His very first move was just deciding that he could make a move. And that's the whole game right there, is the shift from I can't help but feel this way to I decided to feel this way. You go from being a passive victim, just getting tossed around by the waves of your own thoughts, to being the captain of the ship. One way, you're helpless. The other, you're in charge. And the best part? This is absolutely something anyone can learn. All right, so that's the big idea. But how does this actually work in the real world? When things go wrong? Let's get practical. So, our author tells this great story. He's about to move into a new apartment in London. Simple enough, right? Nope. One day before the move, the landlady cancels. Total disaster. And his brain just goes into overdrive. Panic, self-blame. I'm such an idiot. This is all my fault. He took what was basically a logistics problem and blew it up into this massive personal failure. But then, the next morning, he basically just decided to stop. He made a choice to shift from that mush of useless, panicky thoughts to one single useful thought. How do I solve this? That's it. He stopped beating himself up and started looking for a short-term rental. And what do you know? The second he started thinking straight, he found a solution. So how can you do this too? It really boils down to 3 simple steps. Step 1, just identify the useless thoughts. Call them out for what they are. Worry, panic, making stuff up. Step 2, focus only on what you can control. You can't control the landlady, right? But you can control what you do next. And step 3, look for facts, not feelings. The fact was, he needed a place to live. The feeling or the assumption was, I'm a failure. Stick to the facts. And all of this really leads us to one big takeaway, seeing your mind for what it is, a tool. The philosophy behind all this is called pragmatism. And yeah, this is William James's big thing. It's super simple, but so powerful.
Basically, instead of asking if a thought is true, you just ask, does it work? Is this thought useful? Is it helping me move forward? If the answer is no, then just drop it. It's not worth your time.
And when you start thinking this way, the benefits are just huge. I mean, you literally go from being a slave to your thoughts to being the master of your own mind. You get clarity, peace. You swap out all that chaos for a real sense of purpose. You make better decisions. And yeah, you end up living a much happier, more effective life. Look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this right here. This isn't just some feel-good quote. It's a law of physics for your life. The world you experience on the outside is a direct mirror of the world you've built on the inside. So I'll leave you with this question. If your thoughts are the blueprint, if they literally build your reality, what are you going to build next? Thanks for hanging out with us.